Welcome to the Dare to Grow Show. I'm Sarah Morgan, and my mission is to help you take daily action in your business, show up consistently and confidently for your audience, and earn more with digital products and programs. I know you have a rad vision for your life and business, but do you dare to grow? Let's jump into this episode and talk about how to make it happen. All right, babes, welcome to episode 74. I cannot believe that we are 74 episodes in. I'm getting a little bit excited to hit episode 100. I think I'm going to do a little something to celebrate because 100 episodes, if you don't already have a podcast, you might not realize there is a lot of work that goes into this thing. So I'm going to celebrate all of that effort. I think I'm going to hit 100 episodes at the end of the year. So if you have ideas, I will absolutely take them. And it will probably involve cake because you know what I like. So this week, I want to talk about motivation because when you're an entrepreneur or a solopreneur, you end up having a lot on your plate. Essentially everything, at least at the start, is on your plate. And it is not always easy to stay motivated without someone else, a boss, a manager, holding you accountable or having consequences for not getting stuff done. Motivation isn't something you magically wake up with. We think that because sometimes it does happen, but usually it's due to outside factors. And often it's things that have nothing to do with your business or the task at hand. So usually when we wake up feeling motivated, it has a lot to do with how you felt going to sleep the night before, how you slept, how you woke up. Did you have a fire alarm going off at 5 a.m.? That is not a good wake-up call. Or did you wake up to your cute little dog licking your hand at 9 a.m.? That's often the way I wake up, and I highly recommend it. But this entrepreneur stuff is not like a regular job. So if you are dragging yourself from bed to your computer and opening your inbox immediately after you wake up, you are not giving yourself the time to even get motivated and get into that right headspace. I follow this one person online and she always appears motivated, like 5 a.m., 2 p.m., when most of us are like slowing down. We need a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, a walk around the block, or even like 1 a.m. in the morning. She's like on top of her work. She's working out. She's journaling. She's on and excited all the time. And I know that part of the reason she appears super motivated, one, she's probably slightly extroverted or super extroverted, but also she has practices in place for all of the things that we're going to talk about today. So motivation isn't a personality trait. There are a lot of external factors and actually a lot of things that you have control of in creating more motivation. So today we're going to talk about some things to do and some things to think about to help you feel motivated more often and for longer periods of time. Number one is personal goals. One of the easiest ways to get motivated quickly is to bribe yourself. Yeah, we do this with kids. Like if you put on your shoes and you're good at the store, you can pick out a treat. It works with kids and it totally works with us as well. Sometimes I tell myself that if I work on something for 20 minutes, then I can watch TV or I can go read. Or if I finish a podcast episode, then I can get tacos delivered tonight. I actually have a list in my phone of things that I want, and I use that to reward myself anytime I book a new client or finish a project. So I've bought myself shoes. I recently bought myself a bottle of perfume that I'd been wanting. Or maybe you have some really big goals, like you want to remodel your kitchen or take a vacation to Mexico, and you can use that as motivation to stay on track and stay committed. I had 2 clients actually that I worked with this year who both had goals of moving to Mexico to live full time. And that is something that helped them show up and do the work every day because they knew in a few months or at the end of the year, doing all of that stuff would lead them to having that opportunity. So what personal goals can you set or focus on? Some that are kind of small and fun rewards, and then some bigger goals that will take you a little more time to help you stay motivated every week. Next up, you also want to make some business goals to help keep that motivation going. And business goals probably fall into 2 categories. One is stats and revenue goals. So for example, I want to have 100 people in the essentials by the end of the year. If you've been thinking about joining, you could totally dive in and help me hit that goal. But maybe you want a certain amount of monthly revenue, or to book a certain number of clients, or to get a certain number of email subscribers. So you also want to set goals like that you can easily track and check off within the next 6 months to a year. And then along with that, you want to have goals that are connected to your why or your bigger purpose, something that affects your audience, your community, society. So I personally want to see more women with successful businesses, more women earning lots of money, feeling confident, having the freedom to build their lives on their own terms. Because I believe that when women have financial freedom, time freedom, when they feel safe, which often comes from having money, when women have all of those things, the world becomes a better place. And so that is something that I can think about and focus on when I'm feeling not super motivated. So what milestones do you want to hit in your business, and what will that allow you to do personally? And what will that allow your audience, your clients, your customers to do? And while it might be a little scary, I encourage you to make your goals public, because it is a lot easier to slack off when no one knows what you're doing or what you're working toward. You can create accountability with your audience, with your clients and customers, with your partner, friends, family, with your employees or contractors to help you stay focused on those things. And you might notice that when you're open about your goals, the people around you want to help because they want to see you succeed. So if you follow Rachel Rodgers, you can find her on Instagram at Rach Rodgers, RACHRODGERSESQ. You might have seen that she had her first $1 million month at the end of, I think it was 2020. When she realized she was getting close to that goal, she started sending emails, she hopped on social media, she added extra bonuses, and gave her audience the opportunity to help make that happen. So why does this work so well? It's because if other people see you win, they see you hit that goal, they know that it is now possible for them as well. And if they've been around for a while, if they like you as a human, if they've gotten value out of what you share, then they really want to see you succeed. And I also want to mention Gretchen Rubin's The 4 Tendencies. There's a quiz and a book that will help you figure out what motivates you. For example, I am an upholder and a little bit of an obliger, which means that I can motivate myself most of the time, but for some stuff that feels a little more challenging, or it takes more energy for me, like going live on Instagram, I absolutely need to tell other people my plan. Otherwise, I won't do it. Or I'll keep pushing that task back forever and ever and ever. So if I tell my audience I'm going to go live on a specific date and time, 99% of the time, I'm going to show up. Another factor that can help keep you motivated is focusing on some big, wild dreams. What crazy, probably a little out of reach at the moment, dreams do you have? If you had all the money, all the time, if you didn't have to work, if you could do anything you wanted, what would you do? Would you buy a one-way ticket and travel the world, making up your itinerary as you went along? Would you open an animal rescue and adopt all the puppies? That might be me. Would you buy a mansion overlooking the ocean or a cozy little cabin in the woods? I know if you had shown me the apartment that I currently live in, or just the fact that I live in San Diego 10 years ago, I would have been like, that's amazing, and completely out of reach. There was no way for me to jump from living in Michigan, working a corporate job 40 hours a week, plus freelancing, owning my house, to living in San Diego in a fancy apartment, building a membership, and doing whatever I want whenever I want. That was crazy. But going step by step made it possible. So I quit my job. That was in 2012. I worked from home for 2 years. Then I sold my house and moved to San Diego, where I lived in like a 400 square foot apartment. The next year I moved into a bigger apartment with a little bit of a view. And then 5 years after that, I moved into this apartment. Maybe those crazy dreams are impossible today. Maybe they're impossible next year and the year after that, but in 5 or 10 years, you can and probably will be in a completely different place, which means any of those crazy dreams could absolutely happen. This is why I like having the monthly and yearly smaller goals, because you can have some wins every year, every couple of months. But then I encourage you to have some crazy, huge dreams because it will uplevel how you work. It will uplevel the changes you are making. It will give you a damn good reason to put the habits in place to keep you motivated and moving forward. One thing I mentioned in an email last week is to get in the habit of, number 1, writing down your goals every single day. Just a quick list. Number 2, making a list for each goal of a couple of actions that will move you toward those goals. And number 3, remembering your bigger why or purpose for going after those goals. Now, there are also things that help with the day-to-day motivation, because dreaming about moving to Paris in 10 years is great, but you do need some support in the meantime. First is how you feel physically. I feel more motivated when I am moving my body on a regular basis, when I spend time outside in the sun, when I do my hair and makeup, put on lipstick and earrings. Yes, lipstick and earrings absolutely make me feel more motivated because they make me feel more confident. In order to show up and run my business and complete projects on time, I put those habits in place to support my body. So most days I feel good enough to get all my shit done. And I don't know about you, but I often forget that taking a shower, washing my face, putting on makeup really does go a long way to making me feel motivated and excited to show up and do the work. If I feel good about myself, if I feel good inside, it takes way less effort for me to show up and get shit done. And that means how you feel mentally plays a huge part in this as well. Are you spending most of the day thinking about 50 things that you need to get done? Are you scrolling on Instagram, comparing yourself to other people? Are you focused on life drama or challenges? What habits can you put in place to get you back in the game mentally? One small, easy thing that I did was create a playlist of my favorite upbeat, high vibe songs. And I play it in the morning while I'm making breakfast and dance around the apartment. That often means also playing with the dog because she starts jumping all over me. I do EFT tapping along with a coach. I make breakfast every morning so that when I sit down to work, I've done some practices to help my body and to help my mind. And then I'm in a good headspace and I feel motivated and focused. And I also do more serious stuff like take an antidepressant and go to therapy. Sometimes my anxiety shows up and then I need to take a day off. And no amount of lipstick or journaling or focusing on my goals is going to motivate me enough because my body is focused on other things. So sometimes mental health or life stuff gets in the way, but the rest of the time I am doing everything I can to get in the right mental and physical space to be motivated enough and get shit done. And then lastly, there are things that we do every day, every week, every month that we don't need motivation for. We just do it. So look at your life and see which habits you've been able to stick to, and then take the time to think about why that habit is important to you and what motivates you to stay on top of it. A random example, I've been walking about 2.5 miles multiple times a week for months. When I started doing it, it was because I had just read a book called The Telomere Effect, and it was all about living a long life and being healthy and mentally there until the end. And so I started walking because it's one of the things they recommended. I was also motivated to start walking and stick to that habit because the year before, my dad had a heart attack and heart problems run in my family. So it was partially wanting to walk for my future self because 2 of my grandparents lived into their 90s, and partially to avoid the pain of a heart attack or any heart issues. But then after I walked for about a month consistently, one of my other motivations was the way I felt after walking and the fact that it gave me about 45 minutes to listen to a podcast. So I was able to stay motivated and walk for a whole bunch of reasons. And I can use similar reasons to stay motivated for other habits or goals. So next time you are feeling like you need to be more motivated, go back to this checklist to figure out if you need to refocus on your goals, if you need to look at the bigger picture and dream up something crazy, or if you just need a damn granola bar and a nap so you can get back in the game. That catches me every once in a while. If I just eat and sleep, magically, my energy and my motivation comes back. So as always, hop over to Instagram, find me at @XOSarahMorgan, and let's talk about this. What makes you feel motivated, and what habits are you going to add into your life to make feeling motivated easier? All right, I hope this was helpful. Thank you as always for hanging out with me, and I will talk to you again next week. Oh, and one more thing before I go. If you have more questions on what we talked about today, you want templates, trainings, or some accountability to make that shit happen, head over to exosarah.com/essentials and become a member of The Essentials. You will get instant access to the courses, coaching calls, and community. And this way I can help you simplify your marketing, show up with confidence, and dare to grow every single day.